Hello and welcome to Needing a Meeting. My name is Carol. I will be your host today. Who we got in the chat here? Let's see. Well, if you have entered a comment into the Needing a Meeting side of things, it is not showing up. So, hello, whoever's here. I have been here. Hey,
Interesting. It's not showing, is it? Wow.
are there comments on the YouTube side?
Let me see here. Let me try that. Yeah. Oh, okay. Now it's working. I should have entered something a little better than that, but oh well. But yeah, Tony said, "Good afternoon, all. I might be a few minutes late
Hi, Tony.
as I have an appointment with my psychiatrist. I will join you as soon as possible."
Nice.
So
That'll be great, Tony. All righty. Well, I don't know if we'll get more people in today or not, but I kind of wanted to talk about how to find your passion after you've left off your destructive behavior that was your former obsession and find a new obsession that you don't have to recover from.
Wow.
Yeah. Hi, Nancy. Good to see you.
Did you find yours?
Yeah. When I was first sober, I found mine in church. I was all about church. Which eventually I was so all about it that I eventually got into a cult.
How about since then?
I've been floundering a bit with it.
Okay.
And I feel like my inner life has suffered as a result. I do.
So by passion, you mean not just a hobby, you mean something
It can be a hobby that, turns into a passion. I'm kind of back where I was before I found the whole church thing, is in that, I have a lot of interests, but not a lot of ways to focus on one,
Oh. Okay.
and ways to make it, work for me is maybe even making a living or, making it work for me, period. You don't have to, you can have a job and still have an outside interest.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Working a job, being in a band, whatnot. I've been in a few bands here and there. I get bored with them though. I do.
Have you tried well, I don't know what your slobbering skills are like, but if you develop some, you can certainly think about becoming a percussionist. It's one of the prerequisites we have, but that's hard to learn.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
I honestly though I do get the band thing. There are periods where it seems very cool, but there's also periods where it seems to be kind of So
Yeah.
I hear you on that.
Yeah. And it seems odd that music would be something where you'd go, but it's just if you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's not,
Yeah, I guess
there's not to be a successful band out on the circuit playing live, you kind of have to, do the same thing and perfect it so that it doesn't sound like SHIT,
Well, yes, that is very true, and that is very grueling.
Yeah, it is.
Even on the amateur circuit, it gets to be. I I absolutely detest. No, I shouldn't say it that way. I detest the whining a guitarist would give me. Like, wow, I have to change strings. Oh, oh, how much that set of strings cost? Wow, this cost me what, $8? I have to change drum heads. Each one cost me 12 to 20. I got 15 of them. Sometimes you break cymbals, at least if you play hard enough. You grit your teeth enough.
Either.
And they're talking a couple hundred. Like,
Yeah.
how much did the gig pay? Well, might give you 100. So yeah, you're losing money. It's not
There's
too much.
machinery happening outside. I thought we
Oh,
were not. There's Christy. Hello, Kevin Hawthorne from the lifeboat side. Good to see you. There she is. Plant Freak and Christy. Hi, guys.
hey.
Hey, how are
Christy,
ya?
she's got some passions.
Some passions.
Yeah, I
Cussing
was
does that count?
Yeah, it does. But no, after leaving off, something that we're obsessed over, such as an addiction or an addictive behavior or a destructive behavior, how do we find a new passion, something that we don't have to recover from?
Right. Yeah. To be perfectly honest, am I okay? Am I glitchy?
You're a bit fuzzy.
A little blurry, fuzzy, yeah, but not bad.
Okay. Huh. Can you hear me okay, other than being blurry?
Yes. Yeah, I can totally hear you.
Okay. So my new passion is finding furniture at garage sales that has been abandoned and bringing them home and repurposing them and making them new again, but painting them like really vibrant colors and doing really fun things like that. And then of course writing is a huge passion for me, and it's a great way for me also to work through my emotions and kind of do it in a healthy way. But I'm written some stories and some songs and things like that. So it's not just writing in a journal. It's actually like writing for a purpose. Photography. I love photography. Wow. And so that's
how did you
that's
discover
something
that?
else that
How did you discover that was a passion?
Photography. So it was really kind of funny. There is so my family is very artistic, and they can all like paint and draw and do all of these amazing things that I cannot do. And so when I was a young girl, my dad had this book by this guy named Kurt Marcus, and I did not know who he was. For those of you that don't know who he is a self-taught photographer who photographed for Gucci. He shot Cindy Crawford. Like, this was in the 80s and the 90s when all of that was really big. So he was a huge photographer, but I didn't know any of that about him. And my dad had this book called Buckaroo's. It's called Buckaroo's Images of the Sagebrush Basin. And it was all pictures of people that I knew. Like, I knew the people in this book. And my dad looked like the people in this book. And I thought, okay, I can't draw, I can't paint, I can't sculpt, I can't do any of this. But I got a cowboy dad and I've got a cowboy brother, and I can do this. So my dad went to a flea market and found a really awesome camera for me. Turns out it was the best camera to learn on. It was a Pentax K1000, completely manual. So I had to learn to do all of that stuff myself, adjust the lighting. And this was back in the late 80s, early 90s. So they had the filters that went on the front of the lens. So you like literally screwed those filters on, and they were like red, blue, yellow, clear, whatever, because I wanted to shoot black and white films. So the filters would give the film different colors because it was just black and white. So it would add a different depth to it. And so I went out and I just shot my dad. And then we looked at composition because but that sounds really funny, huh? I shot my dad. I went out and we went over composition, lighting, like, did you have too much, sky or, whatever, like how it should look. Then once I got that down, then my dad started going over with me like the horses. So I didn't really pay attention to the horses at first. It was just, is it compositionally right? Is the lighting correct? Does it look good? Then I started paying attention to, okay, the guy had his hands up too high. The guy was looking this way. The horse was looking this way. His ears were pinned back. If I would have waited 1 second longer, the picture would have been a lot better. And it was a lot of that, like, guys, especially cowboy guys, are very particular about how they're photographed. So it's not good for like anybody that's riding a horse if they've got their hands up high. That's not a good thing. You always want your hands down low. So I could have a particularly good photograph, but if the guy's hands was too high, the guy wouldn't give me permission to use the picture because it wasn't technically accurate. So I learned a lot about that. So I learned how to not only compositionally look everything else, but make the cowboy good, the horse look good, and all of that kind of stuff. Hold on, I guess my cat wants in. Just a minute, guys. But yeah, so that's it. So hold on, Shitty Kitty wants to come in the house.
How about you, Plant Freak? You're finding your way.
I am, and I've been finding digital art being really, really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, I can just get lost in digital art. I got lost for like 4 hours the other night. I was like, oh,
That's
it's bedtime.
amazing.
Yeah. So I used to sketch when I was younger, and my hands are still not quite steady enough to get back to it as much as I want to. But that's why the digital art's kind of coming in really handy, because my hand isn't quite steady enough again for me not to be picky about all the imperfections in my sketches, because we're always our worst critic, right?
Right.
So playing around on digital art platforms has been a ton of fun. I tried the whole, like, maybe I'll like figure out how to like properly put AI and like figure out AI images. I tried that a little bit, and I'm having more fun layering things on top of each other and figuring out how they look good.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Thank you. Like the thumbnails that I've been working on, I think the most so far is 12 different layers on one thumbnail. So then that way you can move everything. Everything can be hidden underneath the other one. The images are actually a lot bigger than they look on the thumbnail. You don't have to crop them down. They just, half of it hangs off the screen and nobody really sees it. It's interesting. It's really interesting.
Right on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and it doesn't have to be anything artistic necessarily. It could be something to do with animals. Like, I mean, that is kind of has always been kind of a passion of mine, I guess. And, you know, as much of a pain in the ass as some of these guys can be, I do still love them.
Yeah.
I do still have drumming.
Volunteering.
I was drumming until being 6. So.
Say that again, Ben.
Oh, I still do drumming, but you know, that was when I was still really heavily codependent. I was drumming, so that's not different. Neuroscience. The problem with neuroscience is you read books a lot, but
wow,
you're a slow reader like me. Yeah, but it is interesting.
Yeah.
Especially when you find out how little they actually know. You know, in some parts they know a lot, and it's like, wow, this is interesting. But parts where you think they have like the brain completely mapped, that's actually kind of a best guess, really. I mean, they're kind of, well, this is generally language is generally here, things like that. But you know, there was a neuroscientist or a neurosurgeon rather on YouTube. I can't remember his name, and he's talking about what they say about parts of the brain turning on and turning off. He said it's not like that. He said it's actually like all your brain's kind of sort of on. It's like 51% on, and when parts go dormant, they go like 49%. He said the electricity in your brain is like it's more like a flock of birds that just goes from one side to the other. So it's like, okay, well, I don't have that anymore. Yeah, but hypnosis and stuff like that's always kind of interesting to me. So I
Right.
got that. I do
Learning
love.
about
So then,
spirituality has been something that's been helping me a lot too.
I love
Right
looking
on.
at stuff that these do, doing art like some people, or making pictures like some other
right?
people. That stuff's fun to look at. I can't do it. I wish I could, but
Right. Right. Hey, Ben, so I was going to ask you, the flock of birds, is that like a flock of seagulls?
Oh God,
I
yeah.
ran.
Do
I
you get
ran. I
it?
can't do my hair like his. Yeah, I ran far away.
They're an 80s band and they had really horrendous hair and it was an old person joke. Me trying to be funny. Well, I was
You
going to
don't
say
have to
there's
try to be funny. You just have the funny
it's
moments.
what?
That's all. You don't have to try to be funny. You just have the funny moments.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes. I was going to say too, other things that could really be passionate is working with the homeless, working like Big Brother, Big Sister, or like reading programs, volunteering at your library. Those are all really beautiful ways to give back. And you don't have to do anything for those, right? You just show up and say, hey, I'm here, and they'll put you to work. So if you're not artistic, my words, y'all, they just are not coming today. If you're not artistic, you look into that. Where can you maybe give back to the community?
Yeah.
Working with an animal rescue, or
That's a big thing in AA recovery. Being of service to others.
Okay.
That's a really big, it's a really big component of it.
Yeah.
When you're first getting sober, you pretty much have to make that your passion for that first year, especially, and, but eventually you're going to need more. You're going to need to be more than just a sober person,
right,
or a person
right.
who's left off a behavior,
Yep.
They're surfing like Tara. Although, granted, I don't think there's too many big waves in Arkansas, but that might be.
Canada.
Or Kansas. We ain't got nothing. You're wakeboarding in Kansas. It's as close as you're gonna get. But no, I like this topic. It's nice and light, and it's fun. It's very
Right
good.
on.
It's very good. Yeah. Well, and you might discover new things about yourself, right? If you are willing to step out of your comfort zone a little bit. It was going back to my photography. It was super easy for me to photograph cowboys. They were everywhere, right? They were all around me. All I had to do was like turn around and chuck a rock, and I was going to hit 15 of them. But I never wanted to. It's true. But I never really wanted to be like a landscape photographer. Like, I always thought Ansel Adams was really amazing, right? But I never kind of wanted to do that because I wanted to capture the human spirit. But y'all, when I started traveling and I really started seeing the beauty of all of the different places I was, it changed my mind. And so if you look at the first few like landscape pictures I did, they weren't really great. And then I just realized it's the same principles. You still have to have composition. You still have to have lighting. You still have things that didn't change. It's just what you're taking pictures of. And so then I started doing that, and that became my passion, because then it was a way for me. Before, it was just easy. It was a way for me to take pictures, of guys that I knew were good. They were everywhere. They loved to be photographed. I have literally in my life never ever met a cowboy who's like, no, you can't take my picture. So it was easy, you know. But then when it got to landscape, I realized it's how I could share my journeys with people and take people to places that they've never been, maybe would never get a chance to go. You know, like I've got some pictures of grizzly bears in the Yukon of Canada, right? And not everybody's going to get a chance to see that. Now, granted, I was like hanging out of the truck with my arm out the window with my phone, and Michael thought I was going to get eaten. But still, it's that sharing. You get right with yourself. I have been fighting this dog all day, y'all. Like, I don't know if any of you have kids. Yes, I don't know. Like, for those of you that have kids, you know, when your kid is just on a tear and you're like, oh, that's kind of, you know, Mikey's extra special today. I just can't say that. He's extra special. I just wish he was not so extra. I'm like, can you not today? Not today. No.
What about Christy in your recovery? Were you able to find something post recovery that kind of helped you get through?
Yeah, again, going back to those things that just, for me, writing is a huge thing. Anything that allows me to express myself, because believe it or not, I talk a lot, but really people don't know that much about me. You know, I talk about everything else but me. And so anything that allows me to process my emotions like that. So I did start doing a lot of writing again. And for me, when I'm struggling with my eating, when I'm struggling with addiction, all of that stuff stops. I stop taking pictures. I stop writing. I stop doing those things. And so I have none of that. When I'm, you know, as I'm coming out the other side of it and getting better, I have more of it. And so, you know, you'll see. Now, granted, it's going to be different pictures, like, you know, the wheat fields or whatever, but you'll start seeing more pictures pop up. So that's another way for me, you can kind of tell, because my passion, my focus changes. So you see less and less of that, and then you start seeing just nothing. And then as, you know, I'm coming out of recovery and dealing with that kind of stuff, you start seeing it again. So for me, it's all of the things that I love stop. They go away, and you don't see that anymore. I mean, it's not me hiding in my house, like hiding my eating. It's me hiding everything that I do, because I'm worried, you know. Is my waist small enough? Do I weigh the right size?
Yeah. On a personal note, would you say that a survival mode is kind of like that recovery mode? Because the way that you, like, as you're describing that, I'm recognizing some of that in myself, but I'm definitely able to apply it more to the survival mode, because as things wind up again, trying to get to the next step, then I find myself wanting to hermit more, and like I have to make sure that I'm doing these things so that I can keep the juices flowing and not feel so stuck in myself. Because I know I'll revert, and I'm already having a hard enough time with it being summer and wanting to go sit on a patio, and then having almost like this survival mode trickling back in. I'm pushing myself to make sure that I'm doing the things that I'm passionate about. So my question again, sorry, is do you think that how you described it, it would also kind of apply to a survival mode?
I think that when I'm in recovery, it's much more toxic. It's a hiding mode. It's a don't look at me mode. I don't want to be seen. Like, I will show up and be seen so that people don't question what I'm doing. But it's more of a, I don't want you to see me. I think that coming out of it, it could be a little bit of survival, but for me personally, I have to get the survival part of it before I can start taking the pictures again and things like that, because it's just a different, for me, it's just different, because when I'm in my active addiction, I'm hiding everything, and I'm not doing it. And I have to get through it before you can start seeing those pictures again, because it's like I can only do the pictures and the writing when I'm past it. Because it's like there's something that shuts off in my brain, and it probably is because I'm starving myself. Certain parts of your brain do shut down. Some of your words go away, your thought process go away, because your body is trying to preserve itself. So it's keeping alive the things that are most important. So that kind of creative side goes away. So I don't know that I could do it even if I tried. So for me, I have to kind of be past that. Now, I know not everybody is the same way, but for me, that's what that looks like. So you start seeing that stuff again, and that's more creative coming from me, that's when you know, oh, she's doing good. When you start seeing that going away, it's like, oh, why are you hiding? You know, that for me, that's what that looks like.
For me, it's singing. I can't keep that consistently right now. I can't. I'm getting it in spurts, and when I'm good, I can, and I feel confident, and I'm okay. But then it's this: no, somebody's better than me, or I don't have the energy, or I don't have the want. And I find that that's starting to come in when I start hitting the survival mode again. And then that's when I'm pushing myself. Like, the digital art is a new thing, so that's easier for me to keep going. But something that's from the past, that's really hard for me to just be like, I feel confident, I feel safe, I feel okay doing this right now. Even though I love it and I want to do it. I don't know. It's really hard to explain.
I totally get all that. I had to jump in because it's funny. I just left my psychiatrist's office, right? And we were just talking about journaling and the ways you can journal. Journaling doesn't have to be words on paper. Journaling can be music. Journaling can be cutting and pasting. Journaling can be taking pictures. Journaling can be woodworking. It just depends on what your mode of journaling is, right? And I so connect to the fact that when you're in, like for me, when I go in a mania, my mind goes every place where it shouldn't go. So I can't concentrate on the things I need to do. And right now I've caught myself. And this is after 20 some years of learning about my mania, about my depression, about recognizing the cues that put me there. And I realized today that I'm headed in for a major mania with bipolar. And so I recognized it and I said, okay, we got to adjust my med. We got to adjust my lithium, because if I don't adjust it, I will hit that mania and I'll do some really stupid stuff. And I know I'll do it, but I can't stop it. You know, it's just like you guys with your recovery and everything. You get in that phase and you can't stop it. But then once you're in the recovery part, and that's the same with my bipolar. Once I'm in the recovery part, and like, that's why I'm talking fast, because my mania makes me talk fast. So just tell me to slow down if I need to. But with my mania, that's what it does. It just, everything speeds up to super time. And I hate that sound. I really hate that sound. But yeah, you guys are like talking about just what, and Christy, I loved what you said to your dog. I about lost it when I heard you say that.
Zelda Z.
But yeah.
Zelda Z wants to know, Christy, do you become afraid that someone would mention your weight?
Yeah, sort of. It's not really even that. It's for me, it's hiding. So I'm not. I guess it's more the question that I'm more afraid of is, are you eating? Because I've been asked that question so much in life that it's kind of triggering to me if someone's like, are you eating? Did you eat today? I can't tell you how many times I've had that question. So it's not my weight as much as, are you eating? And so that's why part of the lying for me was, and again, I think I mentioned this before, my one aunt, she's not my aunt anymore, but she taught me, she literally told me, eat in front of them. They won't take you to rehab if they see you eating. So that has stuck with me. So for me, it's the lying. I'm more afraid that I'm going to get caught lying by the people that I love, because I can't lie to the people that I love. Like I have tried and I can't do it, and I find excuses and everything else. It's just like Michael, he's like, would you sit down and eat? Oh no, I got to take the dogs out. I've got to go do your laundry. I need to go to the bathroom. I have to run down to the front and ask a question. So it's that avoidance. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? So it's not the weight as much as it is the eating. Are you eating? I don't want anybody to ask me that.
So what would be the better question if somebody wanted to help you?
That's a really good question. Probably, I don't know. Probably something more around, are you being healthy? With me, it's, I kind of need to be confronted. Like, that's why when Tommy told me what he told me, it worked. Because he's like, you're a junkie. That's not something that you say to everybody, right? Like, I'm not going to say that to everybody, but it's something that needs to be said to me, because it's like that moment that snaps it in my head. So I kind of need that confrontation. I'm somebody who, when I'm in that, I need someone who's going to be like, sit your butt down and eat, and there was a few times there in the hotel where Michael's like, no, if the dogs crap over, we'll clean it up, sit down and eat. And like, he's literally said that. So I need that. I'm very much a tough love kind of person. So I need that moment. Again, Tommy said, you're lying to your husband. I had never looked at it like that, because I promised myself I didn't lie to my husband. So I didn't really think of it as lying. I just thought of it as like skirting around it a little bit, But I need that kind of like in your face, because that's just, that's what has to happen for me to be like, oh, because if you ask me the question, are you eating? Well, if I ate once today, yeah, I'm eating. Are you being healthy? Well, yeah, I'm drinking plenty of water and this. You kind of can't ask that question without circling back to it. And so I'll avoid it. You know what I mean? And I get really sneaky, and I kind of didn't realize how sneaky I was until Tommy said what he said, and then I really started looking at my behavior, because I knew he was right. I just had to look at it for myself to see where he was right. Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, you're such a dick. No, I was like, oh, okay, here we go. And then I really started looking at it, and I'm like, wow, really? And so it's, but I'm not being sneaky to hurt people. To be deceitful in the sense of like, I'm trying to steal from you. I'm being sneaky so that I don't have to answer to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes perfect
sense.
sense.
Crystal has a question. So is it learning when those bad times are coming and learn how to stop it before you go further down? How do you stop the downward spiral? I wonder if talking to somebody would help.
Is that for me or is that for Tony?
For whoever. You're kind of in a pattern where you're looking at Tony, a spiral right now.
Yeah.
Does talking help you?
Yes, talking does help me because it helps me see what I'm doing. And
Okay.
Christy, I don't know if this is something that might help you, but I know that when I do things that I probably shouldn't be doing and somebody confronts me with it, I'm like you, I want to deny it and say, no, I'm fine, I'm fine. Well, it doesn't always work. For you, I could see somebody going, I'm going to go get you a sandwich and I want you to eat it. I'm going to watch you eat it.
See, that would not go over well with me. No,
probably not, but it's tough.
Absolutely not. Yeah, but that's a toxic kind of tough love. That would send me into a defiance that'd be like, you know what? I'll eat your damn sandwich and then I won't eat again for a week. How's that? That's how I would respond to that. Yeah, so there's tough love, and then there's like that toxic tough love. That would be a very toxic, like, you want to see me 7 ways of mad. That would do it, because that's things that have been done to me in the past. But, again, like with what was said, you're lying to your husband. It's confrontational, but it's not like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like I need it to jolt me so that I can look at my own behavior. But yeah, that would not. And not only that, I wouldn't do that to anybody because I know what that struggle is. And that could send someone so wrong. That's like, my mom told me this story. This makes no sense. She got caught smoking when she was like, I don't know, 18 or something like that. And her parents were like, you're going to smoke this whole carton of cigarettes. Dude, my mom did not quit smoking. She's like, okay. And it's like, why would you do that? So it's kind of that kind of thing. You're like, did you really help? What was your intention behind that? So I think there's a fine line with tough love, and I think you need to know the person that you're dealing with. That might work for somebody. That might be a situation where, for me, that's going to spin me out in more ways than one. So I think it's, and it's knowing what to say, because like I said, you're lying to your husband and you're being a junkie. Those are 2 things that I'm like, I don't want to be either one of those, And it caused me to check myself. So if what you say to me causes me to check myself, it's going to be received a lot better than if you were to drug me, throw me in the back of a car and drive me to a rehab center. Now that might be what I need, but that's not going to go well, because I probably won't let that go very easily.
So Crystal says, in a lot of ways, it feels like, it feels like I've stopped, don't know how to dig my way back out. Okay. And that's addiction. When you're not knowing how to dig your way out, that's when you reach out and you go and you journal, but you also reach out. Somebody and somebody needs to be talking back and forth with you and figuring it out, and how to dig your way back out.
And I think somebody that you trust who can give you the kind of love and support that you need, right?
Yeah.
That's an important thing, because what I need is very different. Like, Crystal, I can't imagine anybody just showing up and being like, la, 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 to you. That's not going to go well. So figuring out how you respond best and who can help you. And honestly, it might be somebody that you never even thought. I mean, truthfully, I really never thought that Tommy would be the one that would like kick that back in. Tommy and I have a great friendship, and he's amazing, and I love him to death. But I never thought that he would really be the one to get my attention with that. So maybe if you can explore how you receive constructive criticism, that might be helpful. When somebody gives you that constructive criticism, how do you take that? handle that, that could be
Okay, the car's
helpful. And unfortunately for me, I'm just talking about me. I just got to get in and do the work. I mean, there's not anybody that can pull me out of it. There's not anybody that can fix it for me. It's like lace up and go, because it's either that or I continue down, and I just kind of hit a point. And this time the point wasn't as low as it's been before. I mean, I didn't get down to 89 pounds, but it's like, okay, I know I have the potential to go this far, and I don't want to go this far because I know what that means. I scare people. It hurts to wear clothes. It hurts to cover up. Like my body hurts. And, so for me, it was, okay, I know where that is and I don't want to go there again. So, and this is just my stubbornness. Like, I'm not going to let you do this to me again. So, but that's not everybody's answer. That's just mine. And my stubbornness, because I really am that person who, if you say I can't do it, I'm going to say, watch me. But not everybody's that way,
Freedom is very important to you, isn't it? That sense of freedom.
Oh, freedom is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I think it's mostly because of my past. I didn't have a lot of freedom. I had a lot of freedom growing up. I didn't have a lot of freedom when I was married. And now I'm like, over my dead body, you're going to take my freedom. So again, that's kind of a trauma response, but I can use that in a positive way, because I don't want somebody else dictating to me what I eat, when I eat, how I eat, and that's what happens when you go to those centers. So I think it just looks different for everybody, and I'm kind of mean. So like, I don't know, maybe don't listen to me. If you're a sweetheart, I might not have the answer that you need. I'm like Mikey, I might be a little much. Actually, probably more like Shitty Kitty.
So would you say that later in life defiance could be a trauma? Could be. I'm not saying that we're labeling it, but could be a trauma response.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, for me a little bit. I mean, I've always been defiant, that's always been a thing. But I think for me, it's more, I realized in my situation what I allowed. And again, I'm just speaking of my own situation. I allowed a lot. Like, I realized after 4 years where I was at, and I stayed for 5. So I allowed a lot of that. And so for me, it's not really, I mean, I guess it's defiance, but it's more like, you know what, you went down this road and you learned these lessons, and you're smart enough to not do it again. So let's take those lessons and really put them to the front. And that's, my boundaries are strong. And even the people that, I come in contact with, I just give off this vibe. And it's like, sometimes, people don't vibe with me. I'm okay with that. But then sometimes I find out later, oh, well, there's a reason why I didn't vibe with that person. So I think a lot of it is very strong boundaries, because where I allowed myself to get to. I mean, at that point, I had a false bipolar diagnosis. I was on these medications that I didn't need. I don't remember, those years. I did things that I don't remember. And I don't ever want to do that again. So it's really a lot of, I know where this can go.
Self-preservation is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you go through things in life that, like with wrong diagnoses and with whatever else that we deal with within our lives, it's just us protecting ourselves and saying, okay, no, this is my boundary. You can't cross this boundary. And if you don't like it, that's your problem, not mine. And in ways that's a good thing, but sometimes in other ways it can cause issues. But people need to respect other people's boundaries, and having those boundaries is good, because it is that self-preservation. It's us saying, okay, if you do this to me, this is going to be the result. So don't do this to me. Like you said, having somebody say, I'm making you a sandwich, I'm going to watch you eat it. It triggers you because of what you experienced in the past. So they can't do that. Whereas somebody saying, you lied to your husband. That was something totally different that you hadn't heard before. And it was like, oh crap.
Right.
So it was like a wake-up call for you. So it was a different tactic that didn't cross a boundary that you had. So it worked. So it's just understanding our own boundaries, getting others to understand our own boundaries. Christy, I don't see you as a mean person. I see you as very sweet and concerned about others, but also protecting yourself. And that's not being mean. You have to protect yourself because of everything you've been through. All of us have been through stuff that we protect you know, like my husband, he will joke around with me, and sometimes he goes, I'm going to get you. I can't handle that. And he knows it, so he doesn't do it because of my ex. So he doesn't do it. And every now and then he'll start to do it, and he's like, oh, nope, can't do that. That's her boundary. She can't handle that. And he recognizes that. So like for you, it's that sandwich issue. You know, you can't do that to you. So we all have to accept what our boundaries are, realize what our boundaries are, and not be apologetic for our boundaries, because all they are doing is there to protect us and keep us safe. Not
That's
only physically, but within our own mind.
That's something I'm having a very hard time with, is not apologizing for my boundaries. For example, there's an individual whose situation is, it's better for the kids for them to go into care. It is. It's better for the kids to go into care. But I can't hear her part of it because I was put into care. I'm fighting right now. I can't cope with the story. So even though I'm saying I can't, I'm saying I'm sorry after. Like, I'm sorry, like I just can't, you know? So I'm still apologizing for them. And the reason why I asked, and maybe defiance was the wrong word, was last night was my night to cook dinner. I cooked it early because I wanted to make meeting, but they wouldn't purchase one thing for the dinner. And I was like, no, I want that one thing. And I went out and I bought it. I didn't care. Like, I was being, and when you were talking about it, it was like, okay, but now I'm recognizing a little bit of this in myself. And it was as simple as chicken on the bone. You know, that was something that just wasn't a thing for a really long time because somebody didn't like it. So I would avoid cooking that, even though it's my favorite thing. You know, I always altering for somebody else. And it was just like, no, I'm not doing that right now. It's a whole of $7. I'm going to buy the whole of $7 because this is what I want. And then just as you were explaining that, I'm like, I know that these are compounding situations, but I'm recognizing that maybe they were feeding each other.
Yeah. Well, and I want to say too, I've seen Cosmic's comment, and I wanted to address that. And then I think it was Zelda had a comment. So I think what's really important is when we're helping people, we understand each of the people that we're helping, and they're very different. Cosmic said, I don't do tough love. I've had enough of that for my whole life. Like, I'm good. And so I think it's important when we're helping others and we're helping people that we realize that the way that you treat me isn't the way you're going to treat any of the other people on the screen or in the chat, because my experience is very different. Even though Stasia, Carol, and I could all have the same experiences, you don't treat all of them like me, or, you know, so I think it's really important that you take the time to get to know the person so that you can really help them in the best way possible, and be the most effective. So, like, don't always take everything I say as like the gospel truth of how to do it, because just because it works for me doesn't mean it works for everybody else. And I think it was Zelda asked, is it easier to force a drug on somebody or take it away? I will tell you, in my situation with my misdiagnosis, it was much easier to get me to take all of that medication than it was to take it away, because I really thought it was going to help me and it was going to fix my situation. So for me personally, I took all of that medication willingly. I thought it was going to make me a better wife and a better mom and a better person, and it did not do that. But I willingly took that because it's what was told. It was forced on me. It was not what I needed. So, you know, I wanted to, you know, and I want to say this too about tough love. It's something that I grew up with, and it was done in a very loving way. So to me, tough love has never been mean or abusive love. It's just been, like an example, I walked away from everything. My ex, I didn't take child support. I didn't take alimony. I didn't do anything. I just packed my stuff and left. I called my dad and I was complaining about all of this stuff. And this is what my dad said to me. He goes, "Are you done?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, you made your bed. You lie in it. I don't want to hear it again." And my dad had every right to say that to me because it was true. I chose these things and I had to live with the repercussion of my choices. My dad loved me as much as anybody else. It wasn't mean. It wasn't abusive. It was his boundary. So I think there's a difference. Maybe tough love is not a good term. I think maybe strong love would be a better term, because I think people confuse tough love with mean or anger or abuse. And that's not it, because everybody that's ever given me tough love, I know has come from a place of love. And I think that's why it's been received, is not because that person was trying to be mean, but they understood me enough to know it's how to get my attention. So I just wanted to say that.
Tough love,
address those things.
The problem with tough love is that it is often wielded by people who might be well-meaning, but they don't know what they're doing. So true. Also, the lovey needs to recognize a certain moral authority. True also.
Well, also in Christy's case, she's recovering from a narcissistic past or dealing with that kind of thing. And she has healthy boundaries set up where she's like, no, I'm not going to be a victim of that anymore. Not that I'm meaning to talk about Christy's like she's not here, but
no, you're fine.
I mean, I could, actually, I support Christy in that because too often a lot of people fall into that trap, myself included, where we can reinvite that back, and it takes that kind of response to be able to say, no, I'm not going to do this. You're not doing this to me again.
I want to also address Crystal's situation where she's trying to climb her way out of maybe partially in, or maybe even all the way in a downward spiral. Maybe it's a matter of recognizing your own boundaries and asking what you need from somebody that you trust, like your therapist or a really good friend that knows you really well.
It is. Having the support and somebody that recognizes what you're going through. Yes. And even when we set our own boundaries for somebody else not to cross, we have to recognize our own boundaries so that we don't cross our own boundaries, because that's part of what it is. Just like noticing my spiral downward, I recognize it that it can affect my family. Therefore, there's that boundary. Okay, I don't want to cross that boundary. So what do I need to do? I talk to my psychiatrist, which was a scheduled appointment. Stasia, he keeps looking at my plants. He loves the plants.
You shall be a tiny little horticulturist.
He loves being outside in nature, and he loves the plants, and
that's awesome.
Stares at them. So he's going to do plants with Nina all the time.
Yeah. Oh, and I think Cosmic has a good point, right?
Yeah, I think honest love is a great term for it. You can be honest and firm in your love for a person without the cruelty that comes with what some call tough love. Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
I like it too.
And Crystal, it is so difficult when you are in that situation and you recognize you're in that situation. I know for me, for a long time, I didn't even have words. Like, people would ask me, what's wrong with you or how are you? And the only thing I could say is, I don't feel good. I didn't know how to put it into words, because here's the other thing. When our brain gets stressed, it shuts down parts of it. Like, our brain is the first thing to kind of shut down or stop the electricity flow, as Ben said earlier, to certain parts. And unfortunately, a lot of those parts that we lose first are some of that deeper communication. So, it's completely possible that you might not even be able to say, this is what I need, because I know when I was in it, I couldn't tell you what I needed. I didn't know. I just knew that whatever solution anybody was going to give me, I was going to try it because I just wanted to be fixed. And that's how I ended up where I was. And so, don't be too difficult on yourself. I think so that you realize where you're at. You've taken steps to take some of that stress off of you. And get a different perspective. If you're always going to the same 3 or 4 friends, maybe go to a different friend. Not that your other friends are not your friends, but sometimes just a different perspective. Hearing someone else's side might give you that thing that you never thought of. And that's just a suggestion. Again, I know all of your friends are wonderful. They love you. They have the best intentions. But I know sometimes for me, I could go to all of the people on the screen with the same problem, and everybody's going to have they're going to come from somewhere different. And there could be something that they say that I hadn't heard of or I hadn't thought of. So, you might have to maybe look outside of the box a little bit. I had a very loving father. But my father didn't put up with my nonsense either. Like that never happened. I mean, he was
That's
very
love.
loving.
That's love.
Yeah, he was very loving, but man, I tell you what, he let me know when I was out of line. And I think that's part of the reason why I can sort myself out a little bit. But I will tell you this, he did not parent me and my brother the same way, because my brother, you would look at him sideways and he'd cry and tell you everything he knew and then some and tell on the kid down the street. And me, I'd be like, okay, so again, it's that I think where I was lucky was I had a father and a mom, that mostly my dad, because we were with my dad, that understood me. And I think that's the most important thing in really loving someone, is understanding them and how you can best help them. Because like I said, all my parents had to do was look at my brother and he told you everything you knew, and I didn't.
Well, it's neat that she recognizes, like you were saying, that she recognizes this is where she's at, because so often we go down that spiral and do it.
Yeah.
Even in arguments, you can stop your body from getting into that mode just simply by just relaxing, leaning back, crossing your legs, which does not mean what a lot of people think it does, just taking your hands and just putting one. If you can do that, you can keep yourself falling into that. But the hardest part is always recognizing where you're going, because once you get to a point, it's but yeah, that's huge, recognizing that, and that step alone is really important, because now, you can act before, and that's part of what Tommy was always talking about with journaling too. Recognizing where you're at before you get there. Sorry.
Crystal, the person that I feel could help me with the issue I have right now isn't here anymore, and it's hard to know who to even reach out to. I don't have many supports, and I don't want to be a burden on those that are in my support system. That is isolation, and that is what addiction does to us. It forces us into a corner of isolation. And so your people that are there as a support system do not feel that you are a burden, or they wouldn't be able to be there.
Yeah, that's it exactly.
Right.
That's it exactly.
And I mean, if there's any way, Crystal, that I can help, you're definitely welcome to reach out to me. And it's easy to let those ants take over in our heads of, and really what it comes down to is, for me, I'm not speaking for you, but for me, is not feeling that I'm worthy of somebody's time or love or compassion, and really understanding that I am. I mean, I have talked to Carol, I have talked to Ben, and I have talked to Stasia about things that have really been bothering me, and it took a while, but I think just sitting with yourself maybe and thinking before you isolate any further, I'm worthy of this, and this person knows that I am worthy of this, because I know you're worthy of help, and I know you're worthy of this. You've been an amazing help to me, and I'm proud to be here for you anytime that you need. And but please know that you are worthy of help.
I wanted to know that too, is if you could do a video call with that person, Crystal, that person that has been your help in the past.
And I'm here too as well to help, any way that I can. I might not be there physically, but you can call me anytime, friend me on Facebook, and we can FaceTime anytime. Rebecca and I came up with a really cool way to be able to get things done sometimes, is we'll be talking to each other on the phone and doing chores around the house. Because it's like, how like when you have somebody helping you, it makes it easier. Well, just having somebody to talk to while you're doing the chores is a big help. By the way, everybody, I let everybody know how much you all mean to me all the time. You guys have been my saving grace, especially this past week. If I didn't have you guys, I know I would have crashed and burned, but you guys helped me keep from crashing and burning. And I appreciate you all so, so much. I told my therapist about you. I told her how much you guys helped me and everything, and she thought that was just awesome.
That's amazing.
But yeah, you guys are the best. Like when I need something, I know I can reach out to you, and I am not afraid to do that anymore, because I know that if I don't, I will crash and burn. And it's recognizing that in ourselves. And Crystal, it takes time to realize that in ourselves, that we can crash and burn, that there are people out there that we don't care what time of day you reach out to us. It is. We don't care if you're struggling and we're in the middle of something. We'll drop it to help you if we need to. Please don't think that just because I'm taking care of my son and my grandson that I don't have time to be there for you, because I do. I have the time to be there for you anytime you need. And these people right here that are on the panel with me right now, they're all there for you as well.
Yes,
and
Crystal.
they'll drop what they need to do to help you as well.
That's right.
So please reach out to any of us.
That's right.
And Crystal, I know that we have similar mindset on asking for help. And I've realized, especially because of meeting and knowing everybody, if I don't ask for help, that's the bigger burden. If people watch me crash and burn, that's the bigger burden than asking for help. And that thought has helped me be able to ask for help, be able to ask for space or time or whatever I need. Because I don't want to be a burden, and the burden is me crashing and burning and somebody watching me crashing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's hard
wants to
when you watch someone that you love crash and burn.
It is hard.
And I love all of you.
It's not what any of us here wants for you at all, Crystal. None of us wants to see you crash and burn. So whatever it takes.
That's
we'll
a pretty
be there.
big
And I wanted to say, and I wanted to say this too, Crystal. I don't know if this is something you've talked to your therapist about or something you've considered. I have really bad abandonment issues, and that's why people don't know a lot about me at first. I am terrified of being abandoned, and so I just want you to know that none of us here are going to abandon you. And knowing, maybe that's something, oh, sweetie, none of us are going to abandon you. We're not going to leave you. Okay. We're not, we didn't leave Stasia. We didn't leave Steve. We didn't leave Ben. We're not going to abandon you. And, that could be something that maybe you could.
And I do need to jump off. I'm really sorry. Crystal, please message me. I'm not trying to run away. Okay. I have recovery management. That's all, honey. It's at 6 o'clock my time, and I'm at 15 minutes too. So I'm not running away because of you, okay? It is my own life that's kicking in right now. But please message me, okay? And I'm sorry for cutting you off, Christy.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. Maybe that's something that you can look into with your therapist, because abandonment issues are so difficult. But no one here is going to leave you. And we don't want to watch you burn, because there's nothing
No,
worse than
we
watching
don't.
someone that you love and care about crash and burn. And I mean, I would get in my drive to you. I mean, I might show up with 2 dogs and a cat, but if that's what if you called me and you're like, look, you gotta get here, I'd be like, okay, we'll figure this out. But you have been an amazing person to me, and I want to encourage you. And I'm not going anywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
I might
neither am
not
I,
always be
Crystal.
here, but that doesn't mean that I'm not always here. So.
Yeah.
I kind of have done this one to myself. Back when my hot water tank went, just shortly after, I saw that there was a bit of a leak, and I didn't do anything about it. And it's leaking right close to where the cat's litter box is. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. And last night I really looked at it. It's gotten so bad that I'm pretty sure it's Leo has also been peeing. And so the wall is starting to turn black because of that.
Oh.
And I tried spraying it. I tried spraying where the leak is with leak stop or leak seal, and it didn't work.
Do you know how to turn the hot water heater off?
It's got nothing to do with the water tank. I think what happened.
Okay.
I think what happened is when they capped the tank, when they had to cap it so that I didn't have water. An old connection where they used to have I'm assuming it's where they used to have a washer dryer, has they had crimped it, from what I can tell, and it's just a really small leak, like it's just dripping a little bit, but it's been going long enough.
Can you tape it with plumber's tape?
I don't know. Would that work? Like,
it could.
Is it on a pipe?
It's kind of a pipe.
Is it one of those ridgy kind?
No, it's just like, I think somewhere I do have I think they call it Teflon, that little white stuff that they put around I think I have that somewhere, but it's just, give me a minute here.
Would a new line? I wonder if a new line would help.
No, just give me a minute here and I'll show you.
Crystal,
Okay.
my guys.
That might be something my husband could help you figure out, Crystal.
I was going to say the same thing. My guys could help you figure out. And Dustin knows about like all different types of mold and stuff. He's very well versed in it. So he can tell you how to deal with that black, because it might not be actual black mold.
Yeah, black mold.
You know how to deal with black mold. You deal with tea tree oil. So okay, this is what is happening. There's black, and I can tell that it's partly because the cat. But this is the problem here. It's lit up there.
Okay.
I would say the leak's coming from behind the wall.
No, it's coming from this pipe here,
Okay.
from right there. Because I was seeing it leak yesterday after I had sprayed it. But the reason it's gotten so
A Rolling Stone says, Crystal, I'm not sure if your state has this, but up here, if a senior or disabled person has trouble with their home, i.e. heat, hot water, mold, there are programs that will help cure the problem. You are a disabled person.
the thing is, I know how to deal with it. That's the problem. I just didn't. I knew it was an issue, and I just kept putting it off and putting it off, and now it's become even worse.
Do you know of any services that are like that would help you as a disabled person?
I don't know.
Okay. I wonder if some of the people that have been helping you with the new housing would know about that, know if there's someone that you could call.
No. I know
Okay.
how to deal with it. I just
Okay.
Are you just feeling bad that you allowed it to go? Yeah. Well, and I mean, I can understand that because you've got a lot going on, and it's just one more thing for you to deal with.
Yeah.
And so, I'm wondering if, to just ease your mind, it's not that you don't know how to deal with it. I wonder if it would just take a little pressure off of you and something off of your plate, because you're already dealing with this guy from work and all of this stuff. If you could allow yourself to allow someone to come in, because we've all done that. We've all done things where we know we should have fixed it and we didn't fix it, and then it caused a huge problem. Girl, I messed up something so bad. You know what? It ended up costing my husband $20,000 to fix. I'm pretty sure you don't have a $20,000 problem. So, we've all been there. And you know what? It's okay to just let someone help you with that. It's not that you don't know how to do it, but it might just be emotionally. It's just easier to have some help with that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Please don't beat yourself up over it,
Yeah.
Yeah. A Rolling Stone says, is there any place near you that provides that? Otherwise, there might be a church nearby that can help you. Also, she says, you can't beat yourself up for being depressed, Crystal. There are very few problems that I have that aren't self-inflicted to some extent. So I understand the pain of being really angry at yourself.
And I do too.
And I understand it too.
I do too. Crystal, there's been so many times that I've been in your place where there was something small I could have fixed, and I let it go because I wasn't in a place in my head where I could fix it. Please don't blame yourself. I know it's easy to say, but hard to do. Okay. Been there, done that. We all have. Okay. But don't blame yourself for it. You have been dealing with so much stuff. We know what's on your plate. And this was the one thing that just tipped that scale and made it so, like, what else is next? What else do I have to deal with? Right.
Right.
And so just don't beat yourself up over this. Okay. It happened.
Yeah.
Find some help. You can fix it, certainly. But do you have time? Probably not. You're dealing with too many other things right now. Let somebody come in and help you. Well, if you're not working and you feel like you can fix it, that's fine. But let somebody come in and help you. Let somebody come in and give you that hand that you need at the moment. If I was closer, I would be there in a heartbeat telling you, okay, what do I need to do? How can I fix this? What do I have to do? and I would do it for you. But unfortunately, I'm not. So please, please, please reach out. There's people in the community that would be more than willing to come in and help you. Don't feel like you're being a burden, because you're not. You're not being a burden. Asking for help, there is nothing wrong with asking for help, because we all need help sometime in our life. So please don't feel like you're a burden, because you're not. You are not. So, and I just, and we're here for you 100%.
And I just want to say too, Crystal, you're not off work because you're vacation. You're off work because it was so stressful that your emotional health was taking a toll, and the doctor said you can't do this. So it's not like, you're in Bora Bora and this is going on and you're like, I mean, this is something very different. So please don't do that to yourself, because this isn't a fun thing. This is a, like I said, it's not a vacation. This is that you've got to get this figured out. And, there were times that it took everything I had to just wash my hair some days. And so, please give yourself that grace. Well, I mean, hey, it's good to not have hair, right? But
shave it,
give your right. Which I did have a shaved head for a while. It was kind of fun. But give yourself that grace that it's okay. It's okay. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But, right now, just see what's available. I mean, I don't know if you go to church or if there's something like that. I mean, there might be some sort of program or something like a Rolling Stone brought up, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've all done it.
Not one bit.
We've all done it.
And that's the thing. You've been operating in survival mode for how long? I mean, first you had the hotel, the house thing come up. So then you're dealing with all that, and you're just got over that. It's like, okay, this is going to come along. It's going to take a heck of a lot longer than I thought. Blah, 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 blah. You got all this other crap you're dealing with. Then on top of that, then you have Captain Idiot. You have this person that you're dealing with. So, have a little mercy on yourself. You want to talk about you want to talk about leaving things. I could put you all to shame. I've had in my house that in Bisbee, I had a hole in my roof. I knew it was there. And, it's like, okay, well, fine. I'll get up there and re-roofed, redecked, re-roofed. Okay. Well, then I go and I decide I'm going to pull down the drywall. Boom, pull down the drywall, black mold. I don't need a mask. So I go ahead and I get rid of that. Yippee, yippee. So then I get black mold exposure. So then I get a heck of a I got a lot of it, but I didn't get a little bit of it. I didn't get the little itty bitty. No, I had a huge patch of it. I can handle this because I'm he just doesn't know who I am, so fine. So I go ahead and I throw the drywall out. Then a couple years later I find out, wow, I'm not losing weight like I should be. Why am I gaining weight? I go to get tested. Oh, well, gee, your cortisol levels are sky high. What caused that? Oh, check out this mold you were exposed to. You were exposed to a lot of it. So yeah, medical bills and blah blah blah. Yeah, and years I've been dealing with that. Doing the sauna thing, looking like a baked potato in the silly electric thing. That's neither here nor there. But yeah. Trust me, anything that you let go pales in comparison to what I have done, young lady. So you're
Also,
you're
Heather says in the past I have had bad anxiety and panic attacks. A lot got pushed to the side. Yes, it's okay. Also, Rolling Stone says, I also understand how even the simple things can overwhelm you and it feels impossible to cope. So there's a lot of people here who understand.
Well,
and somebody can help.
yeah, and yeah, and it's okay. And again, it's not that you can't do it. This is, you know, you can do it. It's just, and you know how to do it, and you're competent and you're capable. It's just at this point, um, you know, maybe emotionally, it's better for you to step back, and we've all been there. So please don't, if there's some sort of resource or something like that that you can do, or maybe you know, I mean, I don't know, but also please don't beat yourself up because you're like, well, I'm not working. Well, that's for a reason, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is to a church, even if you're not a member, I mean, the pastor, whomever, they probably won't be, but they will know probably who to call and who, if there any program available, or hey, you know what, we have this
Yeah.
handy dude that does this. You never know, but it's
Yeah.
important to get somebody that's outside your head right now, because you got so much
Yeah.
stuff you're dealing with. It's nothing wrong with you. It's just
Yeah.
that, and we all do this, we all get caught up in our own programs and things like that. We'll miss something because we don't have the critical thinking centers when we need them, because we're wrapped up emotionally. So yeah, that's just a lot of it. It's just trying to find somebody who can help you, taking advantage of that help,
Yeah.
because, and we know this is an issue with you because
Yes.
you don't want to be a burden to anybody, but it's, there are times when you just need to avail yourself of that, because we all get there. All of
Yeah.
us do.
Crystal,
Yeah.
how many times have you been there for
Yeah.
other people?
Yeah.
You've lost track, right? Let somebody be there for you. Let us be there for you. We want to be
Yeah.
there for you. And here's the
Yeah.
thing. Do you have a Unitarian
Yeah.
Universalist church close by?
I don't think so.
Because I was going to say, they are really good about helping people that need help, because they're about environment and community and everything else. Otherwise, I'm not sure which one to suggest. But we're here
I-
for
Do you have
you.
like a Habitat for Humanity?
Ooh, yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Not that I know of.
Do you know that? Not that you know of. Is there some sort of,
Uh,
so what Habitat for Humanity is it's somebody that
I know what it is.
it's all volunteers. Yeah. Is there something like that maybe close by that you have that's
I don't know.
okay?
I haven't been going to church because the church that I was going to doesn't have a pastor anymore.
Oh.
And the people who are in leadership, I don't trust with a 10-foot pole.
Okay.
One of the female of the main couple that is in leadership, I went on a ladies retreat weekend with her and a couple other ladies. I was better friends with one of the other ladies than her, but the other three were fairly close. And I wanted to go because it was the last Women of Faith conference that they were going to have. And I overheard this one lady saying in the morning, because I was in my own room because of my anxiety and stuff, and then the other three were in an adjoining room. And she said to the other two, she says, Crystal's so selfish. She can't even, she's just sitting there, and then she just disappears and not even listening to what we're saying. What had happened was, after the evening session on the Friday, we had gone to a McDonald's, and it was just about closing time. And we were in there, and there was this young, I guess probably in their teens, couple that were sitting kind of like we were sitting here and they were sitting over here, but I could see them. And you really needed to tell them to go and get a room or go out to their car if they were going to continue what they were doing. They were pretty much laying down on top of each other on the bench.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was seeing that, and I disappeared because it was too triggering.
Yeah.
But
Golly.
they might not have seen that. I don't know. And
Golly.
after that, I shut down. I didn't
Yeah.
tell them what was going on. I didn't tell them that the band that played on the Saturday, I didn't tell them that I bolted because the only way I know how to put it is the way they were gyrating on stage was making me very uncomfortable. And so I bolted. And trying just about as bad as I am right now, crying to the point where I couldn't breathe, went to the prayer room because I was so triggered. And I knew I couldn't even say that to the one that I was close to. But now to find out that the one that's saying, oh, well, she doesn't think of others, she just thinks of herself. I'm not about to sit under their teaching.
Yeah.
If that's how they treat people.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah.
Do
That
they
was
have?
so
No.
mean.
It is
No.
very wrong.
No.
Yeah.
Do they
So I
have
don't know where
sister
I'm going.
churches?
Not in this community, no.
Okay.
Crystal, not to cut you off or anything. My son is an idiot. He has his body brace on and he decided to go ride his motorcycle down the street.
What?
Yep. He has
What
a
in
broken
the
back.
world possessed him?
But he says it's more comfortable. He says riding his bike is more comfortable than sitting in the car. I'm just like, oh my God, child, you are going to be the death of me. So there's something for you to laugh at, Crystal, my child being an idiot.
Spoken like a true outdoors guy that's off-roading, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I hear it.
So, but I understand that. Dustin and I were attending a church here in town, and I started going more than he did because he was busy with other things. And we went to services one day. I was greeted. The pastor acknowledged me, never acknowledged Dustin. I was so angry. I never went back after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying this because of the denomination. I'm saying it because they have hurt me. The people of that denomination have hurt me. One of my best friends from Bible school, he was a pastor of that same denomination that I've been going to here. He was a pastor of one of the smaller communities churches in this area. And I've known ever since I've known him that he's different. He's just he was so easy for me to talk to and be with and feel comfortable with, and I didn't feel like he was ever going to try anything with me or anything, and it was comforting. And when he moved back to this area and became the pastor of this church, I was happy for him. He's got a family, and he was doing really good. And then he ended up with a disease that made it so that he had to learn how to walk and talk all over again.
Oh.
And as he got better, when he finally got better, he part of his getting better was he needed to be true to himself.
Okay.
And so he came out,
Okay.
and the denomination came down, the higher ups came down, and they said to him, get out. You are no longer welcome here. Your family isn't welcome here. You are not allowed to set foot in this building again.
Of course they did.
Unfortunately, that happens a lot. Yeah.
So
I know.
much. It's disgusting.
And
It's, you
And
know,
that crushed
and
me.
it's not very forgiving, right? It's not very forgiving, right? Like, if you're going to be a Christian, shouldn't you live as Christ lived? Shouldn't you be, you know, a little more gracious? Because I hate this saying, but like, you might be the only Bible people read. I hate that saying, but you know, like, that just, Crystal, that breaks my heart for you. And to be honest, and I'm not encouraging you to do this, things like that is why I left organized religion. And I will tell you this, I got pregnant out of wedlock when I was 19 years old. I was told to go in front of the church and apologize for what I did. I did not do it.
No.
My family left the church, and my dad never went back. And I struggled with it for a very long time, because that was really hard for me. There were times that I was told that the way I dressed, and I mean, I would have a dress down to the, you know, like ankle length, you know, like a sleeveless one, but it was like ankle length. And I got told that I was too distracting to the men in the church because I had a child and I wasn't married. So I understand the frustration with that. And it's very hard. I know it, but it's very hard when you have that kind of love in your heart and that kind of faith, and then you see people treated that way. So I'm so sorry that you experienced that in your church, and I know that God is important to you, and I know the Bible is important to you, and I hope that you can find a church that is more in line with you know, the teachings that you believe. Because just because I'm not in organized religion doesn't mean I don't respect it, and it doesn't mean that I don't understand that there's a lot of people who love that. And I hope that you're able one day to find a church where you can feel comfortable and feel accepted. You know, I really hope that for you.
The thing is, when I first started going to this, there's a clothing store, there's not a church here.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like, I grew up Baptist, and I will honestly say, but I will call it a fundamentalist Baptist. So very strict, very, when they found out what happened in our family, it all kind of blew up when I went to Bible school. And as I left that weekend, I knew that the following weekend they were having a congregational vote or members vote to kick our pastor out. And they kicked our pastor out, and then they went after mom and dad. Now, my dad was a deacon, and my mom was secretary treasurer. But they figured they weren't good enough because of what happened in our family. If it wasn't for the people at my Bible school coming around me, I would have walked away that weekend. I would have walked out of dorm. I would have walked away and never looked back.
Yeah.
This was a different denomination. It is not. It's not one that I go to even now, or have gone to. I found that very difficult. And now to have another church that took me in, the denomination took me in and didn't look down on me because I was depressed, didn't look down on me. They came around beside me and said, how can we help?
Yeah.
And now to have the same denomination first kick out my best friend,
Yes.
and the hard part for me to even step foot in a church. My friend Jay, he was like the pastor of this church. After he and I didn't want to listen to the gossips and stuff, and so I ended up talking to him the one time, and I said, well, what's going on? Why were you asked to leave? Because I had heard you'd been asked to leave. And he says, well, I came out. And I looked at him, and I said, I don't understand. And yeah, I did. He was the very first person, besides my therapists, that I said, me too.
Okay.
And I am so scared to go back into the churches and then find out and kick me out.
Crystal, I am so sorry that you struggle with that. And you know what? I am proud of you. I am proud of you. I see you and I acknowledge you and I love you no matter what it is, you know. And I grew up in a Baptist church too. Mine was very strict, and I know exactly what you're talking about. But you know, I hope that you find the spiritual comfort that you were looking for.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I still love God.
And
then,
well, of course you do.
It took me a long time to even accept myself for who I was.
Yeah.
And I questioned, it's like, why? Because growing up, I was taught that that's a sin.
Yeah.
And I cried out to God, and I talked to him, and he said, I didn't make junk, Crystal. You're not a mistake.
That's
You're who I made you to be.
That's right.
And
that's true.
It took a long time for me to realize that.
Yeah.
Yes, it means for myself, I will never have a relationship. But
I'm so sorry you feel that way.
I honestly, I don't think I could ever have a male or a female touch me in those kind of ways ever again. Just because of the way I grew up.
Yeah.
So
you know, Crystal, my doctor is actually his name is Clay Reedy. He is a gay man, and I love him, and he is my soul brother and my best friend. And I would love to get in touch with him and see if it's okay if he had a lot of the same struggles that you did about things like that. And you need someone to talk to. He is an amazing, amazing man who's in your community. I actually did an interview with him on my channel, so you can go watch him first and see what you think about him. Very soft-spoken, very kind man. But if you ever need to reach out, I mean, he's in Florida, but I would be happy to put you in touch with him, because everything you just said to me was part of his coming out story. Everything, I mean, and he even said it in our interview, I think, but he has said to me, why would I be this way? How come, you know? So I want to offer that to you, that if you need, and he is a medical doctor and he has his own practice specifically for the LGBTQAI plus community. So, and he treats the whole person. So if you need someone to talk to about those issues, he's a very wonderful person, and I would be proud and happy to put you in touch with him. And I know he would be proud and happy to talk to you about that. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. And he's doctor, and I love him even more because he's my doctor. But if that's something you ever need, I will do that. Reach out to me and let me know.
Yeah.
Put you in touch with someone in your own community.
Zelda had a good suggestion too. Maybe going to a hardware store. Maybe there's somebody that works there that could help you out.
Oh, I know what I need to do. It's
Okay.
a spray bottle that I need to get.
Okay.
What I have is called Leak Stop.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't work as well as Flex Seal. And so I need to get Flex Seal because Flex Seal, I guess, will work better when the area is still wet. I ended up with some pretty bad nightmares last night about this whole situation at work. And it was hard enough to take the garbage can to the curb this morning and take the pictures that I needed for insurance outside.
Yeah.
That was hard enough, let alone having to go downtown and pick up a bottle of spray.
Well, you guys, I've got to hop off because Michael's going to be calling me soon. But honey, I am proud of you and I love you just the way you are. And like I said, if you ever need to reach out to my friend Clay, he would be proud and honored to talk to you, to just give you somebody to talk to if you need it. If you don't need it, that's cool. But all of you have a great day. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm sorry I got to go, but he calls when he gets off work and it's like over 100 degrees there and he's like missing me and the buddy dogs today. So he's a little extra sad. So I've got to be there to answer the phone. Otherwise he'll be like, I called and you didn't answer. So I love you very much. And Crystal, you got this. I have faith in you. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Okay. So and Crystal, I'm going to leave you with the words that a couple people left with me the other day. You are my friend. So I would ask you to be kind to my friend.
Yeah. Be kind to my friend. Yeah. Nancy says, Crystal, sharing what you are going through is courageous. It means a lot. And it does.
Carol, earlier you were talking about trying to find a passion after recovery. Have you considered paranormal? You can get this phone app that is, I just got good evening, Matthew. He called me Matthew and tragedy. So I'm thinking these paranormal scanners. Can we keep talking? I'm thinking these paranormal scanners are Leo. So apparently I'm Leo, or you're Leo, or somebody's Leo. Yeah. I'm thinking these things aren't burial. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah. But yeah, no, it honestly it's kind of fun to dig into this stuff and just find out how much of it's. But yeah.
Well, can I help you? Is there something I can do to help you or encourage you to get to where you need to get your Flex Seal?
I'm gonna try again tomorrow.
Okay.
I could go right. I could probably go now, but I have a bunch of other things that I have to do as well downtown, and I don't really want to have to go out and do one thing and then go out and do another thing and go out and do another thing. And
is there
want to be able to
something
get
that
it
you
all
have
done
to hold it for the time being?
I think the leak stop is helping a little bit.
Okay.
And if I can find that Teflon stuff, see, that's part of the problem. I've packed a bunch of stuff and I don't know where everything is.
Oh,
Because some of it just got dumped into tubs.
oh, ouch.
But if I can find the Teflon stuff, then I will try using that and see if that will help as well.
Isn't that how packing always goes? We throw it in tubs and then forget where it went.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
is, I know where all my shop stuff is. Like, I still have some of it out, but some of it got put away because I was moving things around and changing things around. And of course, I packed like I was moving at the end of May or just after.
Yeah.
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 When I moved, I didn't know when I was moving, so I was packing everything, and
Makes
whatever I knew I wouldn't need, I packed. So,
Never
but
fails.
I think I know.
It's
It's
just,
okay. We've all been there.
we've all been there. Put things
Yeah.
off because they were just more than we wanted to deal with and more than we could
I just,
deal with. We've all done
I
it.
guess to begin
You
with,
know,
it was like when I first noticed it, it's like, well, it's not that bad, and I'm gonna be out of here anyways, so screw it.
right.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So do
I
I.
do too.
So
I hate to say I had that attitude, but you know.
I
Well,
think we all do.
well, yeah,
I think we've all had that at some point
yeah,
or another.
you were wanting to get out. It was as is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fairly obvious. Hey, don't blame me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So spirits, tell me, oh, phone spirits, have we had a meeting? Huh? Come on, say something. Say something. Oh, no. Oh well. They'll
Hey,
say
at least you
something
got
good, too.
Crystal to laugh, Ben.
Yes. 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 Have we had a meeting? Do you feel better?
Yeah.
You got this. You've got this, Crystal. You got this.
Boy, yeah, maybe the spirits
It's
are
gonna be
trying to
okay.
guess. Oh no. Oh wow, the
It's gonna
gas.
be all right.
Ooh, demonic. Okay, come on. Oh, spirits, have we had a meeting? Come on, you bunch of hippies.
Isn't that something you're supposed to ask an 8-ball?
Yes, and this is about as accurate as an 8-ball. Yeah. They revealed the code to this, and they said, see, it's affected. We can prove this app is affected, but it uses the phones radiate 17. So that's like a lot of threes. Or more twos, but hey, you can't have an omelet without breaking some eggs. So yeah, they proved that this app, they use this thing on YouTube. I feel hopeless. Well, then you do need a meeting. But all the YouTubers, well, not all of them, a lot of them use this app, and it's just as good as a random generator. They say, oh, but it uses the sensor. So what? So all that proves is that you're picking up, lights and stuff. So that doesn't mean anything. But yeah, but it's a good hobby. Hey, watch
17 is a primary number.
Watch Ghost Adventures when something unexpected happens. Like, but when they catch a full body apparition, like, hey, look at that. Oh, I am scared. What will we do? Yes, I know. This doesn't sound scripted now, does it? Come on, but oh well.
Crazy.
That's all I got.
I guess on a good note, I did get did get my cabinet finished that I've been working on, so
Hey, nice. That's great. Send me a
now
picture of
just to
it.
fill it. You're on my Facebook.
Mhm.
It's posted on Facebook.
Okay, I'll go look.
So
Yay.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it's finally got one thing crossed off the list. Now to clean that room up and fill it up so that I can fix stuff in the next room.
Right on.
I have some baseboards in my storage room that need to be replaced because they had black mold that I've eradicated. And
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what to
so
do, and you got
yeah,
this.
I'm a builder. I create.
Okay. Nice.
I'm not a contractor builder, but I know
Yeah.
how to make things look functional.
Right on.
So
And I would like to specify, if anybody cares in the comments, I actually am seriously into the paranormal. It's just, I'm sorry, the noise was him. Well, the only other him in this room is my emoji poop. So apparently emoji poop made noise. Yeah.
you sure it's not your cockatiel?
Yeah, it could be my cocktail at home talking to the quail again. That could be. It could be the donkey.
Tony B says, Crystal, I hope you're feeling a little better now. We all love you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to just talk things out and
Right on.
helps my head figure things out.
Right on. Exactly.
I just need to figure out some way because I have when I've been journaling in the past, first it was writing by hand, and then once I had my own computer that nobody was going to look in, I was able to type it. But now I'm finding it even hard to type very much to journal. So I'm needing to try and find some way that I could like just voice talk or whatever, but I don't know how to do that yet. So
Well, it you could. It sounds stupid. I know it does sound stupid. Keeping a gratitude journal, just simple things. You know what? If you can't type it, just say it out loud. Say it in a mirror. Things that you're grateful for. It's been known to help with depression, imposter syndrome,
Wow.
stress, several other things, just from simply expressing, I feel I'm grateful for
yeah,
my car, my house, my job, whatever. I'm grateful for the food. Grateful for the food I eat. I'm grateful for a stupid phone that I can run a stupid spirit talker on. I'm grateful for the emoji poop. Whatever. I'm sorry, I'm reaching. I know, but yeah.
I've done that in the past. Sometimes, well, the one person that got me doing that, I would text her every day and tell her. And yeah, it kind of helped for a while.
Right on.
Just
Whatever helps for a while can help for a while. And then here comes another help for a while. It's, we help each other get through these situations.
There
I
was
journal out loud in
literally
my car.
times.
It helps. Zelda Z says, I journal out loud in my car. It helps. Right on.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like, do you record it or just talk to yourself?
Journaling is anything we find is journaling, even you crocheting. Right on.
Needing me. Can you explain the numbers?
Okay. One is praying for you, whatever that looks like for you as a person, sending out good thoughts, good vibes, hugs, whatever it is that you do that is your belief system in what you feel. 2 means I'm struggling and I need a meeting. 3 means I'm all it's part of a heart. I'm all good. Had a meeting. Good to go. So
2
yeah,
is you
2
still
is
need to dump.
everybody still need a meeting. 3 is feel like you've had a meeting and it's all good.
I'm not. To me, it always looks like
Someone
that
just talks out
German
loud.
commercial of making a VW symbol. We're going to unpimp your ride. That VW. Oh, well, whatever. What do you? I hope you both have an awesome day. Thank you so
You
much.
too, Ben.
I hope the donkey's doing
Yes.
okay,
Yep.
and
Thank
hopefully
you.
Steve's able to keep the Antichrist running a little while longer. You can always throw holy water on it and everything else. So you have an awesome day.
You too, Ben. You guys, I love how you care about each and every person that's in here. You care about each other. We care about each other, and I love that. I don't know what I'd do without you guys. Thank you for being part of this meeting. Thank you for being part of this community and for lending your beautiful selves each and every time you come. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you again next meeting, which will be tomorrow at 3:40 Central Time. And until then, peace, y'all.